a lot of people would happily argue that the zombies community, especially with this game, has taken a big hit. And one could also argue that this game mode has been dying since after Black Ops 3 with Infinite Warfare zombies, as well as World War II zombies. I want to make a quick little disclaimer here that I believe the reason why we're feeling that zombies is dead at this point in time, like we're feeling it a lot harder than we were before, especially with Infinite Warfare and World War II. Yes, they were drought periods. Infinite Warfare was fun, but they were drought periods. Because there's nothing like a Treyarch game, you know? That being said, we love Treyarch so much, and we hold them to such a high standard that when this game didn't meet our expectations for whatever weird reason, it's a bigger blow. We're feeling that blowback right now. So I have been thinking about Treyarch's biggest mistake in respect to this game, and I've made a list. And I first want to talk about the Chaos versus Ether storylines and why I think that the Chaos story should have received all these new changes and not the Ether. Right now, there is specialist weapons, there is elixir systems, there is a new storyline, there are new game modes, there are new ways to complete quests on hardcore, realistic. You can do stuff on casual. There's custom mutations. There's all these new implementations to zombies. And while I'm not saying that the Ether story should have not received any of these reworkings, elixirs are fine, I guess. But there was so much done to the health system with armor. All these little nuances. Jug's gone. The perk systems have changed. All of that should have been in the Chaos story. 100%. All I play are Chaos story maps, which is weird because I like the Ether story way more, but all I do is play Chaos story maps. I never play Blood of the Dead. I never play Classified. All I play are Dead of the Night, Titanic, The Voyage of Despair, and 9. I don't play anything else, which is strange, right? I mean, I've been a Zombies fan for a long fucking time, and I'm only playing the new maps. Well, that's because the implementation of this new system works so well on these new maps. It doesn't work well on the Ether story. They should have left the Ether story with Jug, with Double Tap, with Speed Cola, with Pack-a-Punch. Hell, they could have even kept the Black Ops 1 or 2, I mean, I guess 3 Pack-a-Punch system, because they still kind of have it. But the 5 times to Pack-a-Punch to get Double Tap, the 4 perks to buy to get Speed Cola, the lack of Jug, I mean, it's there, I guess, in a sense, but that was iconic. They should have kept Ether the same, gameplay-wise. Sure, I guess you can have elixirs on the D-pad, but I really liked the idea of the Gobblegum machine. I thought it was great. So, I really think that this uprooting of zombies and the rebuilding of it has turned a lot of people off, and I actually said this was going to happen. I really did. I was like, this game is going to piss off a lot of people because they're redoing so much shit across all modes except for multiplayer. I think that's actually the one mode that's improved. And I knew this game was going to piss a lot of people off. I just didn't think I would be one of the people that I didn't get what I want, which is weird because there's a lot of shit in the game. It's a very big and there's a lot of depth to this game. There's a lot of challenges, the same challenges we've seen over and over and over. There's some challenges reworked with calling cards and camos and Easter eggs and different challenges and different game modes. That's just for zombies. The same stuff applies for Blackout and for multiplayer. The problem is we have been so used to this system, we're tired of the same game with a new skin, you know? And I understand, I empathize with that. So this really, I've been thinking about this for a while, but I really got thinking about it when Codename Pizza had his new podcast with Chopper that I don't think he'll ever probably do again, which I did like. It was interesting. It was fun. So I want to talk about a couple pros and cons about the game. So the first con slash pro is the great divide between the chaos and the ether story. I really like how they uprooted the game and applied that to the chaos story. Perfect. Great job. The wonder weapons, the specialist weapons, the armor, Jug implemented, the chaos, pack-a-punch mechanisms, the speed cola mechanisms, all that's fucking awesome. The quests are epic, the boss fights are great. I think they need to be a little more challenging, but we'll get to that. Another pro is that there is no political divide in this game. It's great. There's no political divide. It's probably my favorite thing. You want to be a girl? Be a girl. You want to be fucking Ruin? Be Ruin. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. We just play the game to have a good time. There's no shoving down your throat that this needs to be all male, this needs to be all female, this needs to be all multiracial. It's just a game. It's great. And I love that I can just play it and not think about any of that shit. So huge pro for me. Honestly, really big pro. Another pro is at its core, it's a Call of Duty game. It feels great. It feels tight. The controls are amazing. It looks great. It's graphically been improving over time. I don't know if you've noticed. Look at some old footage and compare it to the footage now. It's definitely made strides. The zombies mode is super fun. The blackout mode is really fun. The multiplayer mode is continually great. We're just tired of the same shit. That's what it is. We've been playing this game for almost 20 years. We're gonna get tired of it. And it's bringing in a lot of new fans. And old fans get tired too, and the internet just makes everything seem bigger than it is, alright? And we read everything with this pessimistic attitude. You ever get a text from your mom and it says like, hey, will you answer your phone? And she's probably just saying, hey, sweetie, like, answer your phone, I'm trying to call you. And you read it as like, hey, answer your phone, dick. Yeah, that's not, everyone thinks that everyone's talking like that. So we're brewing animosity for no reason, you know? And combine that with the anonymity of the internet, people saying whatever they want, a lot of hatred brewing. And I'm not one to condemn free speech or anything. Just say what you want. It's just, I think there's a cyclical thing here of the hating the Call of Duty, the internet idea, the misinterpretation of thoughts and ideas, and misrepresenting your feelings and putting them out there. It's all just construing to a negative outlook that I think is hurting us more than it's helping us. Constructive criticism is always great, but right now we're in desperate need of some help. So I have a lot of cons, and that's okay, because I am one of these fans that is disgruntled but also satisfied. It's a weird place to be in. So cons. Zombies made more content in the wrong place. I guess this is kind of like, this aligns with what I was saying about the chaos story and the ether story needing to have their own gameplay mechanics to a certain extent. But it's also the idea that more maps isn't the way to go. If there's more maps with less shit to do, then I'm not going to keep playing these maps. I'm just going to finish the Easter egg or do a high round to 100 once and be done. And that's kind of what I've been doing. They should have put more emphasis on the game modes and more emphasis on challenges in each in particular map to unlock certain items, add-ons for characters, add-ons to weapons, different camos and stuff. And they haven't really done that, and we've been waiting for something like that. They keep saying they're going to do something like that. Is that with factions? Is that with the mastery camos? I don't know. We don't really know how that's going to work out, so we'll wait and see. They released the content in a poor order. I don't like how they're doing the same thing with Ether that they're doing with the Chaos story. They shouldn't do that. They shouldn't tell stories out of order just for the sake of confusing the reader or the listener. It's not great, you know? Like, I can watch a Quentin Tarantino movie and go into that expecting it. I guess you could do the same thing. When it's not something that you're digesting all in one sitting, it's annoying. So we got 9, which was the last map, then the Titanic, which was the second or third map, and then we got Dead of the Night. And I understand having a celebrity cast first would have been really confusing, because then where are these other characters coming from? I do get that argument. But why even have a celebrity cast? Why couldn't that be the place where Alistair brought them in to meet because he knew something was going to go wrong, and then it did go wrong, and then they embark on their journey? Who knows? All I know is that it's off-putting. Since we're not digesting all this content in one sitting, it lags, it drags on. Nothing has developed since the very beginning of the launch of the game with the storyline on both fronts. We know that Richtofen, one of his selves, has died due to the blood of the dead map, but the storyline is essentially still the same as far as the Chaos story. Nothing great has happened. The communication is very poor on the Treyarch front. It is getting better, but what we are seeing is a lack of communication on the zombies front, most definitely. There is a lot of communication on the multiplayer and Blackout side of things, I would say, because there doesn't need to be the same type of communication. Zombies has always, I don't want to say it got the shitty end of the stick or anything, but it's definitely, there's a lot of secrecy that goes into it. Like, we don't find out if a new weapon is coming right away. We don't find out if new camos are coming right away. We don't find out really anything until it's about to happen, which is okay. But when there's core features of the game that are being promised to us, new maps that have been teased forever, and there's no trailers, and there's no promotion, and there's no communication, we're just left in the dark with our fingers up our ass, having paid almost $150. Actually, I paid, what, $200 or $300 for the mystery box edition, plus the Black Ops pass for PC. So that's a $300 or $400, and I know not everyone's like that. I'm anecdotal case here. But if one person paid for the Black Ops pass and the regular game, that's $100. So they're just supposed to sit here and wait for Treyarch to maybe release stuff. Like, I just don't understand why they're going dark. There was 6 months from February all the way up till the release date. There were streams, content updates, community events, regular events, Comic-Con, the Black Ops 4 reveal event, all these trailers and events and music videos and all these tweets and Reddit posts and all this shit was going on. It was such a hardcore campaign trail of advertisement. And then as soon as Black Ops 4 released, they went dark. And I get that the game development isn't over and they are continually updating this game and building it and improving on it. Good, I'm glad they are. And fortunately, I did not get hit with the plague of blue screens like all these other people did. But what really drives me crazy is how we went from so much communication to literally nothing at all. Very strange. Very, very strange. I get that they wanted to release this game and kind of take a step back and see what the reception was. And the sales reception was fine. But the fan reception for the longevity of the game, I do not think is going in their favor, especially for zombies. For Blackout, it probably is. But for zombies, I think there's a lot of backlash. From the average zombies player, I don't think there is. But from the hardcore community, which buys microtransactions and continually buys the game every year, and the passes that come along with it, there's definitely backlash. And this is kind of the last point, because I repeated myself a lot here. I wrote, I'm going to combine these 2 points. One is there's no payoff or rewards. Not really. And zombies needs that next step. So let's talk about what the next step is. In Derice, in Der Eisendrache, in Transit, even though Transit sucked, Mob of the Dead, all of these maps were iconic because of something that changed the way we play zombies forever. In Mob of the Dead, it was this compelling narrative and this Easter egg quest that showed us that zombies could be something more. In Derice, it was the Pack-a-Punch machine and upgrading your weapons and allowing you to survive that much longer. With Verrückt, it was the perk system. With Shinonuma, it was the dogs. And yes, zombies was very new back then, so anything added was innovation, technically. With Der Eisendrache, it was the amazing quest with the combination of Origins. With that epic quest, with elements from that, with the wonder weapons, the bows, with feeding the dragon heads, which is an element from Mob of the Dead. Der Eisendrache was literally a combo of Origins and Mob of the Dead. It was beautiful. It was a short and sweet quest, and then they added boss fights. So not only did we get to see old and new combined flawlessly, we got to see it on a beautiful original map that also had its own style. It is a perfect map. It really is. I think it's probably the best map, hands down. And I think back then, during Black Ops 1 through 3 and World at War, Treyarch was experimenting. They were constantly trying to make each map better than the last by trying new stuff. And yes, they are still trying new stuff. But now every map feels the same because we have a special weapon loadout system. We have a custom weapons we can start the game with. We have perks we can load out with now. Instead of going into the map and playing the map for its identity, we are creating our own identity and then going into the map. And I do not like that. I really think it's a big turnoff, which is why for the Chaos story it is okay. For the Aether story it is not okay. Because the Aether story was all about going to these unique worlds and experiencing what that world could provide you from the world's perspective, using the world's materials. In Zetsubo no Shima, you have to complete all those challenges to get the lightning to commence so you can use it on your shield to do certain parts of the Easter egg. But the boss fight was easy, and there was plants that you could water and use the wonder weapon on to get power-ups and pieces for the quest. You had to use the environment around you to improve upon the experience. In Mob of the Dead, there was, like I said before, there was a narrative element that drove the player to complete the quest, and it made you feel something. 9, I think, is the only map that does the environmental aspect where you need to use your surroundings to progress. The Voyage of Despair map has a hard boss fight. Classified, well, I don't really like it that much. It has a lot of story stuff, but I don't really know if it did anything for the community. No one's talking about it now. Blood of the Dead had a pretty average Easter egg. I've only done it one time. I never want to do it again. I tried to do the perkless in prison thing, but I haven't done it since. And the boss fight was super underwhelming, but it had an emotional cutscene. Like there's always like a give and take with it. I don't feel like there was as much give and take as there was before, in the sense of it taking away from the personality of the map. With these other maps from way back when, even Transit, like I was talking about before, it introduced the radical building system that we know and love today. Sure, there was elements of it in other maps like Die Rise and stuff like that, but Mob took it to that level where it was done well. Same with Origins, even though it's a little excessive if you want to do it solo. And when you have no rewards, as was the counter, not the counter, but was the additive to this point, it makes it worthless. The games end now. There's no perk rewards or perkaholic rewards. At least keep that for the Aether story. If all of these old-fashioned things that we had grown to know and love were kept for the Aether story, I don't think we would be seeing this backlash, because then you could just go play Blood of the Dead, get a perkaholic, and then get to round 100 after you beat the Easter egg. With 9 and Voyage, if you want to complete the trial and then go back to normal, that's fine. End the game. I really think they should have focused on making like 2 zombie modes instead of 1 zombie mode that just makes you feel like you're playing the same map over and over. That's one of the reasons why multiplayer is so monotonous, because you just enter firing range, you enter slums, you enter whatever the fuck map there is, and then you just shoot each other. And I know that can be said about zombies, but it's definitely like that now. I always pick the same 4 perks, and yes, that is my problem. But the reason I picked them right now is because I'm trying to get all the headshot challenges done. I'm trying to do an Easter egg quest, so I want Dying Wish. And I want to get it done fast because I'm a solar player, so I want stamina. So right there I have Deadshot, stamina, and Dying Wish. And then obviously I want to have, you know, infinite health essentially, so I put on Victorious Tortoise. Those are like the standards right now. Once I get the headshot challenges done, then I'll do Dying... I probably won't do Dying Wish as much. I haven't used Mule Kick ever. Not unless I get it added through a challenge or a perkaholic now. But there's just so much fat, and there's so many decisions. I liked when zombies made the decisions for you, but you had the option to take the path. I know that sounds hypocritical, but let me explain. If I wanted to play Zetsubo and I wanted to use the Marshalls or the MX Grand, or get the free Widow's Wine or whatever, I could do those challenges if I wanted to make my shield electric or to do the Easter egg. But they forced that decision upon you, but you could choose to go that route. And now there's just so many options, it's overwhelming. I always am staring at the menu thinking, what am I going to do now? Do I want Perkaholic? Or do I want Death Perception? Do I want Dying Wish? Do I want Time Slip? Or do I want Quick Revive? Well, I don't know. I'm not really playing with anybody, and I'll have Dying Wish so I can just escape. It's not that big of a deal. Death Perception isn't really useless. I guess I'll just do my same 4, and then I go to the same 4 again. Just because it's out of habit, it's easier to pick that shit and just move on. Because these zombie quests are so complex now that after I'm done, I don't play another map. I used to play the same map over and over and over with Black Ops 3. I used to keep trying and grinding. And I would get so mad and I would throw my controllers. That's because I fucking loved it. Now I just play, and if I die, I'm like, oh well, I wasted like $1 on fucking microtransaction. That sucks, but whatever. There's just a lot here, but a lot missing at the same time. And I think it's just the execution. And I don't think Zombies is dead. I think the community is tired of it. And I think Treyarch needs to find that next big hit, like Pack-a-Punch, boss fight, whatever. And it needs to somehow give identity back to the maps. Because identity within the characters is not doing it. I really think that's a huge thing. Combine that with the lack of rewards and the lack of the payoff and the lack of ether maps after we've been waiting 10 years to complete this journey. Combine that all together and then top it off with a little cherry called no communication. Well, Treyarch is shooting themselves in the foot. Should we trust them? I'd say they've earned it. Is it difficult to trust them? Most certainly. My name is Alex. Thank you for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.